The Church of Satan is a real organization founded in 1966 by Anton LaVey. The Satanic Bible was published in 1969. Currently, since 2001, the high priest of the organization is Peter H. Gilmore. Peter's on the phone with us. Thanks for joining us today, Peter.
Oh, thanks for having me on, John.
Now, let's just get it out of the horse's mouth, so to speak. What is Satanism and satanic philosophy according to the Satanic Bible and the Church of Satan?
Well, Satanism is a philosophy that begins with being an atheist. We then decide that since there is no God, there is no devil, we have to make our own values. So we become the gods of our own subjective universe. So we're skeptical atheists, we use science to understand the world, but we adopt Satan as the symbol of pride and liberty, and basically a means for externalizing the best within us. When you look at Satan, we see the figure that Milton depicted, or Mark Twain. He's always the devil. He's always the one who will refuse to bow down to an authority figure. So it's rebelliousness, iconoclasm, and that's our basic way of looking at how we should live our lives.
Now, does the Church of Satan have an actual temple where members will meet, let's say, on a Saturday or a Sunday and participate in the Black Mass, which was written by Anton LaVey? Do you guys participate in those kinds of things?
No. Originally, Anton LaVey used his home in San Francisco to do rituals, but he found out that was just entertaining people who were hangers-on and not productive individuals. The real point to Satanism is that it's a tool for you to actualize yourself. It's not a faith. It's not something that requires regular meetings. We don't even require people to use ritual. For us, ritual that we call greater magic is self-transformative psychodrama. It's a way of getting rid of the emotions that are hindering you from enjoying your life. And the real point of Satanism is it's a tool to get the most out of living. And Anton LaVey actually didn't write the Black Mass. There was an adaptation of old texts that were adapted for use in ritual there. But a Black Mass is generally something that's a blasphemy against something that exists that may be oppressing you. And if you feel that Christianity is oppressing you, you might want to do a Black Mass. But the Church of Satan would also do Black Masses mocking currently popular cultural icons. So if we're going to do a Black Mass today, we might make fun of Paris Hilton and iPods. So that's
now,
the whole
how many...
idea.
I've seen on BarnesandNoble.com that the Satanic Bible was, last I checked, was the 7,000th most popular book, which is very, very high, in my opinion. I first found out about the Satanic Bible years ago when I was in high school, just from some stoners that I used to party with. Otherwise, I never would have known that such a thing even existed. How many members does the Church of Satan have today?
Well, we have thousands worldwide, but we'll never give out an exact figure. And again, that was a concept that Anton LaVey had, is that if we sound like there's too many of us, we seem like a threat. We seem like a conspiracy. If we don't seem like enough to somebody, then they might say, well, we don't have to take their ideas seriously. So we leave it a mystery, and we like that. Now,
we know that back in the 70s, some fairly popular individuals in Hollywood were members, Jane Mansfield, Sammy Davis Jr., more recently, Marilyn Manson. Can you name for us several prominent individuals today in Hollywood that are official card-carrying members of the organization?
Oh, I can't do that unless they tell you themselves. The whole point to being a Satanist is to move without fear amongst the machinations of the world. So if people thinking that you're a Satanist is going to keep you from doing your own devil's work, then you certainly aren't going to tell people about it. So until they let you know, I have to keep mum on that subject. But you'd be surprised.
Are you familiar? You must be familiar with the Skull and Bones secret society based at Yale.
Oh yeah, I've been to that building. Yes.
Now, President Bush, George W. Bush, his father, grandfather, all members of this organization. They've participated in what we would call satanic rituals. Do you, in your own, we'll just ask the Satanist himself, do you believe that President Bush is a Satanist today?
No, not really. Those rituals, while using diabolical trappings, that's something that secret societies have used throughout the centuries. It's a way of creating a psychological disjunction and reliance on a team amongst their members, so that if people are embarrassed in a ritual format, they feel a loyalty. I mean, that goes back to the Templars. They supposedly had initiations that include kissing the anus of the master and spitting on a cross, which in those days, if you did that in front of people who could witness it, you could be burned at the stake. So naturally, you'd be loyal. So it's an old technique, but it doesn't mean people are necessarily Satanists.
Now, in the Satanic Bible on page 58, under the infernal names, Baphomet is mentioned, and it's described as being worshipped by the Knights Templar as a symbol of Satan. In a very popular occult book, Transcendental Magic, by Eliphas Levi, he says, did the Templars really adorn Baphomet? Did they offer a shameful salutation to the buttocks of the goat of Menendez? He later goes on to say on page 308, yes, in our profane conviction, the Grand Masters of the Order of the Templars worshipped Baphomet and caused it to be worshipped by their initiates. So is this a very common theme? Is this fairly well known within the occult community that the Knights Templar really were doing these rituals and really did worship Satan?
Well, everyone knows that those testimonies were extracted under torture, and you know how reliable that is when you have people who are basically feeding you with whatever their own sexual fetishes are and whatever they felt was the most heinous thing they could accuse you of, and if they're gouging your eyes out and crushing your thumbs, you'll practically say anything. However, it's an interesting symbol, and the idea that the Templars did have a secret society that demanded loyalty, but they were very worldly people. They started out as an order that pled poverty, but they ended up being the creators of international banking, built many structures that have very advanced architecture, and are rumored to have found secret documents or ritual objects that are sacred to Christianity and Judaism. So they were smart operators, those guys. And it wasn't until Philip IV in France decided that his coffers needed their money, and he decided to denounce them. So that was jealousy. But again, contemporary occultism likes the symbolism of Baphomet, and essentially it was considered to be a glowing head that represented male power. So, of course, that's certainly satanic in Christian symbolism, and it may have been used for psychological manipulation of the members of that order. And it may have just been something completely made up by the inquisitors as they tortured their victims. We'll never know for sure.
Now, we did notice on the History Channel there was recently a show about the secrets of Freemasonry, and they did mention that many say that the inner circle do worship Lucifer or Satan, and that this has been a secret tradition that's been carried on through the generations. This notion became very popular, as we all know, with Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, which alleges that such secret societies as the Knights Templar and the Freemasons are, in fact, hiding a secret family tree of Jesus. But isn't it true that the real secret that they are hiding is the fact that they've been carrying on this satanic philosophy or religion in secret for thousands of years?
Well, actually, the Masons worship who they call the creator of the universe. And by doing that, that's not specifically Satan. If you go by Christian mythology, that's Jehovah. And if you're a Gnostic, that's the other way around. So it really all depends on your perspective. The Masons don't require anything more than an allegiance to that.
We've got Peter Gilmore, High Priest of the Church of Satan here. We're going to go to a break. We'll be back and get deeper into this. This is John Connor. Stay tuned. Back in a moment.
You're free, and freedom is beautiful. And, it'll take time to restore chaos and order, but we will.
Seems the High Priest of the Church of Satan is a man of his word, because he won't admit that President Bush is a card-carrying member of the organization. But in the Bible, in the Satanic Bible, it mentions a little bit about Moloch. Also in the Christian Bible, Moloch is described as a demon god that people were burning their children to, sacrificing their children to, the Israelites and other ancient cultures. This is discussed in Leviticus and other parts of the Bible. Peter, are you familiar with the Bohemian Grove?
I've seen some footage of the